Brian, you got any parting questions for Damon for our
Well,
last segment?
yeah, I mean, so we were all talking off air. It's interesting. We see it on our end, and it's interesting that you see it on your end when people call you and say, "Hey, I've got a house I want to sell or whatever," right? And you get in a spot when people don't have a plan, right? There is a plan for your estate plan, and I said when I say estate plan, a lot of people go, "What are you talking about, estate plan?" Wills, there's trusts, right? There's power of attorneys, there's healthcare directives, all that. But that's an estate plan, right? Like,
Right.
And so what we find is that they don't realize, even if they don't have a lot of wealth, right? Maybe they have $250,000, $500,000, or up to $1 million or under. It still can cause tens of thousands of dollars in attorney fees, and more importantly, the money that you saved for your children doesn't go where it was supposed to go.
Correct.
And the hassle and the heartache. I've literally had people on my conference table so upset at their parents because they didn't love them enough, is what they've said, their own words. They didn't love us enough to take care of something that cost $1,200 or $1,500 through an attorney, or even doing it on your own. I mean, you could do it on your own through, I don't know, LegalZoom or something for $500, right? Through us, it's under $1,000 the way we do it for our clients. But tell a story, a situation where you've helped. Maybe it was a real estate, situation where, estate planning got in the way.
I mean, it's not a story. It's probably not every month, but it's every couple months, every single year for as long as I've been in the business. And so mom dies, everything goes to dad, then dad dies.
Right.
Okay. And dad didn't want to pick one kid, so he just leaves it to both kids. When he leaves it to both kids, what typically happens is, and unfortunately everybody knows the story, there's a good kid and there's a bad kid. There's a kid that's successful or has done the right things throughout life. There's a kid that makes bad decisions. And when they leave it to both, what happens is if there's judgments, if there's garnishments, if there's judgments, garnishments, liens, all those have to be satisfied because they're all attached to the house.
Right.
And so, you thought the kids had, and most people's wealth, unfortunately, is held in their home. Like, that's it. Like, most people, when they die,
that is their investment.
Their investment is the house. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to sell mom and dad's house. It's $300,000. We get $150,000 each.
Right.
Well, Bobby has got $300,000 worth of judgments, liens, and whatnot. And so all those have to be satisfied. So the good kid gets nothing. Good kid walks away with nothing because they have to satisfy everything because of poor estate planning. And what we tell people is, like, pick one kid and pick your good kid. Let them sell the house. I mean, seriously.
Right.
Seriously, let them sell the house and then slide Bobby $150,000 across the table, and the good kid doesn't lose their $150,000.
Right.
But when you leave it to both of them, the bills will be settled. That's the only chance the debtor has to ever get their money, and they will get their money. And it happens all the time.
So that's where trusts can come in, and so revocable or irrevocable trusts are important planning to a lot of people. Are like, oh, well, those are for the multimillionaires that need trust. No, it's situations like this that you can control the assets from the grave, and it can pass the next generation. And trust sounds like this big fancy word that costs tens of thousands of dollars. I've had the same question for the last 20 years. They all ask the same, well, this is going to cost a lot to maintain. It doesn't cost anything. You're the trustee.
Right.
Damon, you're the trustee of your own trust. So when you pass away, though, any creditors or predators, as I like to call them, are coming after you for suing you or whatever. It goes to the people that you wanted it to go to, right? It's an irrevocable or irrevocable trust at that point. And so you have the ability to pass it to who you wanted. And the bad kid that didn't do what he was supposed to do, he gets left with nothing.
I think his name was Bobby.
Bobby.
Bad kid.
Bad kid, Bobby. Sorry, Bobby. But then that's life, though.
That's life.
That's the consequences for making poor decisions your entire life. I mean, what is he, like 65 at this point, right? His mom was 85. So if you haven't grown up by 65, you probably shouldn't get anything.
Correct.
And so
you're gonna blow it if you do.
Right. I mean, it's what blows my mind is the business owners and some of wealthy individuals worth $5 million or more that have no estate plan. And I think it's a fear of working with attorneys, and some of the closest people I know are attorneys. They're great people. Some Some of people I know that are not great attorneys, but that's just like any industry, right?
Right.
So, but they're afraid to go because it's going to cost a lot of money, or but the heartache, and we're never going to die, obviously, right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
not. We
it
don't
would
think we're
forever,
going
yeah.
to. You're talking about your 4-wheeler accident,
Right.
right? That happened. I don't know how long you said it happened, but hey, you probably had a little scare there that
yeah.
maybe this is it, right?
Yep.
And that kind of stuff is important when you have a business or you have assets. To protect it is kind of important. So
I think the biggest thing, I don't know if you ever thought about this or not, I think business people are always looking for a return on investment. Like if I spend X dollars, what do I get for it? And
Right.
I think that when they look at estate planning, they think of, I'm going to write a check, but I don't get anything for it.
right.
They don't see a return on
Yep.
that, when essentially what it is it's a protection of everything they worked their entire life for.
Right.
And the other thing, I don't know how the trust works per se, but we have a problem with disappearing wills.
Yep.
In other words, you and Hannah are married, you have a will.
Yep.
Okay, you die, where's the will? And then the will that all of a sudden appears is not the will that everybody knew about.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing I
Right.
think is, you need to have, and unfortunately everybody thinks a will's filed in the courthouse, and it's not,
No.
which I do think is crazy and ludicrous.
You can file the documents, and we recommend people to do that. They don't, right? But we always say, like, look, you just did this. Are you okay with giving this to your kids? Yes. Give them a copy. Everybody, and if you ever make changes, you tell everybody about it. We
Right.
get that's why we actually facilitate in our office. Well, because 60% of the people walk in with nothing. It blows my mind. I'm like, you went through heart attack, you had cancer. I mean, your dad just passed away. Like, what other sign you need that you need to get your stuff together? And it is a little bit of asset protection. But I think you're right. We're always looking at return investment. I've been in business over 23 years. It's always how much if I put in this,
Right.
how much I get back out. But I think there's something that you can't. That there's a added peace of mind, right? That you can't put a dollar amount on. And I think that's what estate planning and asset protection really is to protect the next generation or family members that are still here if something happens.
Well, I think some people, they don't want to pick a child. They don't want to make a decision that's going to disrupt the family after they pass, when in fact they are causing all the strife after they pass. Because, I mean, if you have Bad Bobby and you have Sue, and Bad Bobby takes all Sue's inheritance, Sue's not talking to Bad Bobby again.
Right.
It's over. That relationship's severed. And I think
That's sad too. Yeah.
it is sad. But I mean, you have so many people, and I hear it all the time, well, I don't want to pick somebody. I don't want to pit my kids against each other. Well, you are.
You already are. Yeah.
You are. By not making a decision today, you are pitting them together. And I mean, you see people fight over the dumbest stuff. I mean, like, you
the
would
82
not,
Ford? Come on, that's not worth something.
you would not buy that TV. Why do you want it? That
Yeah.
TV's like 12 years old. It's a tube TV.
Right.
Well, I want it because it was daddy's, and it's just the dumbest thing, where if they would just have a will, have a trust, have it all set aside, this is what's going to happen, explain to everybody this is what's going to happen when we pass, then there's no surprises.
Thanks for watching. You want to learn more? Check out these recommended videos on screen.